everyone. I'm your host, Michelle, and I am so excited today to have two very special guests. I'm welcoming back Dr. Kahleova and my very special client, Spencer Rudin. Welcome, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, so Dr. Kahleova is a board certified endocrinologist with a PhD in human psychology and pathophysiology, and is board certified in lifestyle medicine out of Washington, D.C. Welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah, so happy to have you. And my lovely client, Spencer Rudin, who is the CEO at A. Rudin. And it's super exciting. It's 4 generations. A. Rudin has been a Los Angeles-based family-owned business, fabricating custom furniture of exceptional quality and comfort.
Only exceptional things. Michelle.
I had to get those words in. And I'm really excited to have both of you. Spencer has been a client for 7 years. So it's just a pleasure having you here. And we're talking today about one of my favorite topics, which is food addiction and emotional eating, which I know right now in December, a lot of that is going on. What do you guys think?
Yeah, absolutely.
I am looking to my left to a massive basket of sugar and fat and sweet and crunchy and all of those fun addictive things that I've had the pleasure of enjoying or not enjoying for a big part of my life. But it's not open yet. It's not open. It still has the saran wrap on it. It'll potentially be regifted to somebody else, not you, but somebody.
Good. I'll send you some bows. You can hand it off to some people.
Perfect.
Well, Spencer, you firsthand have experience. I know we've talked a lot about it also personally for myself as well with food addiction, emotional eating. And I'd love for you to start off and just share a little bit. And I'm going to have Dr. Kahleova come in with some science research around emotional eating and food addiction. I would love for you to just share a little bit about some of your struggles and things that you've experienced firsthand.
I'd be happy to. Yeah, I mean, food was definitely my first addiction in my life from a pretty young age. I struggled with weight and overeating and a tendency to gravitate towards sugar and all the things that I wasn't supposed to have. I don't know what came first, the chicken and the egg, me not supposed to have them or me, binge eating or eating at a really rapid quantity. Um, I come from a family of eaters. I come from people that really center a lot of their life around larger meals and congregating around the dining table, enjoying each other's company, but food being a key component of that enjoyment. And from day one, that is something that resonated with me a lot. And I enjoy food. I enjoy food to this day. I've just been blessed to build, with the help of Michelle and many other people, a much more healthy relationship with food and kind of reframing how I look at it. Taking a step back to my younger years, I think emotional eating was a huge component of building an unhealthy relationship with food. I believe that whenever things were really hard, the first thing that I would reach for was that shiny, wrapped, beautiful, processed, delicious food like a Pop-Tart or a cookie, or, I could have had the nickname of Pepperidge Farm back in the day. So I think that sugar often offered an immediate boost of dopamine or of excitement, and a feeling of reassurance, like I'm either being rewarded in many times. I think that's an emotion that I attribute to food from a young age through many, many decades of my life to seeking comfort and an escape at times. When things get hard, especially at a young age, and you don't know what to do with those feelings, where are you going to go? Am I going to act out emotionally, or am I going to remain quiet but look for something to fill that void? And I think through this episode today, I'm sure I'll speak a lot about that void and other things and other ways I've approached the void. But really, overeating, binge eating, and eating in private,
Mhm.
really going in and grabbing a lot of unhealthy food and having shame around eating until my heart was content at a young age through many ages is really a big part of my story. And
Mhm.
it feels wonderful to talk about it with professionals.
Yes, and thank you for sharing that. And I think you said something interesting for also with Dr. Kahleova to touch on is this dopamine and reward. And one of the things that when we started working together, I thought, all right, I'm going to throw him into a triathlon. He wants to lose all this weight. I'm going to have him go to do his first triathlon. I don't even care if he owns a bike. He's going to get a dopamine hit. We're going to get him off the sugar. And that's what you really took on. You were able to take that dopamine from the food and turn it into movement. And this is something that I teach, and also probably with some research, Dr. Kahleova, that the serotonin and endorphins and dopamine we get from these artificial foods and all these high fat saturated foods, that you can move your body, and get that similar, even better, I feel, don't you? And you got your reward. You finished your first triathlon.
I did. I did. That was a
Wow.
really special experience and something that
That's awesome.
I never expected to do in my life. It was never on the playbook. I've always been a strong swimmer due to growing up surfing and spending time in the ocean and in the pool. But the idea of running for an exceptionally long period of time or getting on a road bike in spandex, being overweight and unhappy about it was my nightmare. But I replaced the nightmare with something that is a huge pride point, and I'm happy to share that I've done 4 triathlons to date.
Wow.
Yeah,
From
Congratulations. That's
scratch.
awesome.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's really great for people to hear that. And I'm going to ask you, Dr. Kahleova, we can talk about the dopamine and everything. And I just want to say, you started from scratch. And I think a lot of people think they can't do something, and you were able to show not only yourself but others you can get in those spandex, no
Yeah.
matter what size you are.
Need
So
to stay
Dr.
need to stay aerodynamic somehow.
Yes,
But I'll take whatever
exactly.
help I can get.
Yeah. So I'm just curious, as you're hearing this, Dr. Kahleova, what are your thoughts with some of the latest research with emotional eating and what we're talking about here?
Yeah, we touched on several interesting points. First of all, when we eat, there's a hit of dopamine in our brain, which is physiological. It's just happening after each meal we eat. Now, people who have some addictions, let's say they're addicted to cocaine, their response is blunted in the brain. So if you do a PET scan, they don't get such a dopamine hit. It's just blunted. That means they need a stronger stimuli, to get the same sense of reward compared with healthy people. And what's interesting, when you do scans on overweight people who struggle with being overweight, you get a similar scan to those who are addicted to cocaine. The response is just blunted. That's why people, feel compelled to eating more and more intense flavors and, foods that will give them basically the same reward that people are getting from healthy foods. And overweight people just need to overdrive the blunted response in their brain. Now, the main question is it reversible? And do you need to do a triathlon to overcome this? Because somebody may be listening and they're like, you're losing me. I don't want to do a triathlon. Is there hope for me? And the answer is yes, because uh, food addictions is something that we're up against with every change in our lifestyle and in healthier nutrition. How many times have you told yourself, I know exactly what I need to eat. Let me just eat more salad and, have these green smoothies. And then you know exactly what to do, but somehow you get sidetracked, whenever you're stressed or hungry or lonely or tired. Those are the triggers where you may just react instead of being proactive, and somehow you slip into your old habits, and then you may be angry at yourself, which is not helping, because then you're seeking some comfort in food again. Have you found yourself in a cycle like this? I bet many people who are listening, can relate to this, or at least to some parts of it. So how do we break the cycle? Building a healthier relationship with food is not that hard, but it takes a little bit of planning. People think it's more about willpower. I would say it's not so much about willpower as it is about planning, as it is
Mm.
about recognizing, what am I seeking in the food? What's my relationship with food? Am I turning to these, super fatty foods, or super salty foods, or super sweet foods, whatever is, your go-to? Am I turning to them when I'm angry, when I'm overwhelmed at work, when I'm stressed out, when I'm tired? Once you decipher the emotions which drive you to these foods, then you can actually break free. Because if you feel lonely, you can call a friend, and you can say, hey, can I just come over? I feel like really down. I need some encouragement. Can we talk? And if you feel like you need some reward at the end of the day, can you find some healthy ways to reward yourself? A hot tub, or walk in the forest, or an evening with candlelight and reading a book. I don't know what the reward is for you. You need to experiment, and sometimes you will feel like, oh, it's not as good as this particular hit that I was getting from food. But as you keep experimenting, you will find that you will be able to find some healthy replacements. And with food addictions, sometimes people think, well, I just need to eat these foods in moderation. But if you tell this to an alcoholic, we know that
Mhm.
it doesn't work. you know,
Yeah.
to overcome the addiction, you just need to get rid of these foods from your house. They cannot be in your house. If it's in your house, it's in your mouth. So it's actually fairly, like, the principle is very simple for overcoming food addictions. You don't have these foods in your house, which forces you to come up with something else. So if you have a sweet tooth, you may end up eating more fruit and dried fruit, and some.
Not dried mangoes. Let me interrupt because that's our
Oh, my
thing.
favorite. My favorite.
Well, we will eat a whole tub. I just want to interrupt one thing because what you're saying is very true. I've always had food addictions my entire life since I was little, and my dad died at 9. I went right into my bedroom and ate, and that was my way that I dealt with
Yeah.
emotions. And I, like Spencer, I finally started talking about it during COVID. I had someone write a story and put it on
Mm.
my website, and it took time to overcome the shame and to talk about it. And I was always a thin binge eater. So I thought no one would know. I'd go exercise it off. No one would know I'd eat. No one knew about it. But it was always that shame underneath. And I think that for me, I always, like you said, Dr. Kahleova, is I always made sure I have nothing in my house because I will eat it. And I always,
Yeah.
my thing is, I always tell all the men that I coach, I can out eat you. So
Yeah.
don't challenge me. Like I always wanted to go on one of those hot dog shows where you eat all the hot dogs. I could do that with sugar. And so I've been off white refined sugar for 25 years. Every day is a challenge. I don't have it in the house. I don't have it near me. I
Right.
can't have a piece of it. And, you know, it's these practices that I wouldn't say are easy, but like you said, if you don't have it in the house, you got to come up with other ways,
Right.
other things. And not everybody understands that type of addiction or whatever
Mhm.
we want to call it, like alcohol. Or what are
Yeah.
you smiling about, Spencer?
Oh, just the journey with addictions in general. It's easy for somebody, as Dr. Kahleova was saying, that has that addictive tendency or gene to start somewhere. I'm happy to share a little about my journey, with addiction and it kind of transferring from one place to another, finding wherever it was most comfortable. Really starting with food and that dopamine kick we were talking about with sugar and saturated fat and the other elements that go into it. And in my story, at a later date in my life, alcohol really became a an addiction, as well as some other substances, marijuana and cocaine and some painkillers and other things of that nature. And those same feelings that often flooded when the food looked like the right solution came with other substances. It was trying to fill the void for whatever that emotion was, whether it was immense discomfort or stress or heartbreak or fear, and even happiness. It's a funny thing about being an addict that there's a huge element of self-sabotage in the picture as well. When the monster of addiction takes hold, often the highest points in life become a place where there is that immense feeling of shame and discomfort. So, when there were triumphs and joys in life in active addiction, I would personally often look for a way to act out and self sabotage and find a way to drink enough or smoke enough so that I could bring my psyche to a place of, all right, I am the person that I'm telling myself in my head that isn't capable of lifting myself out of this, or being the shining light that I know I may be in a personal life. And
Mhm.
a lot of the solutions that both of you were discussing were my path, very, very much. I had to look for an alternate solution. It was my decision to try sobriety in a true sense, where I have a program and I have a tremendous amount of support and community
Mhm.
surrounding it. And through the journey of, taking all of these different elements of substance, and at the time, at the beginning, sugar, high saturated fat. I mean, I went all in. I went from being addicted to a bunch of things to being a vegan triathlete in about 3 months with the help of our very trusted Michelle Kramer here. And um, there's nothing better I've ever done for my life than make that decision. And, I look back now almost 7 years ago and looking at my life in a day like today, getting to speak with two wonderful, immensely educated, talented people about my experience and me stepping out of the shadow of addiction to food, to substance, to attention. I could find anything to be addicted to. I was a collector as a young kid, and that was with food probably an early push towards the consumption and the desire to fill that void with something, whether it be a
Mhm.
material good or somebody's affection or a substance. And I know I jump all over the place a
That's
little bit,
okay. So
but
as you're
yeah,
talking about this, I
yeah.
want to just kind of interrupt a little. So, um, what would you say has been, and this is something too with Dr. Kahleova giving us a little bit of research around this, is that what are some things that you've over the last 7 years have basically has become a practice and ritual for you day in and day out that you have found, like I said, not having foods in the house, or we could talk about transcendental meditation or landmark or whatever it is. What are some things for you? You mentioned support.
Yeah.
that you're doing on a daily basis for people listening, that if they want to take one step towards making a change?
Yeah, I think there have been a lot of guiding lights in my life that have joined in my daily practice. I think that the grand regulator for me, and Michelle, you and I talk about this all the time, is exercise,
Hmm.
and not getting to a place where it has to be a 2 hour workout and that's the only thing that's good enough. If I'm taking a day and I have a 20-minute period of time and have the ability to do some exercise, I'm a far better human being to myself and to everybody around me when I'm able to get my circulatory system moving, when I'm able to, get cells working and be able to get a sweat in. That's a daily practice. It's still something that I struggle with when I'm very busy at work or there's an immense amount of stress in life. Another thing that you mentioned was transcendental meditation. And
Hmm.
that's something that I hold near and dear to my heart. And I practice 2 times a day religiously and has changed, I think, my body's composure, chemistry, and has opened my eyes, my heart, and my mind to endless possibilities. And it is
Hmm.
a incredible place where we can go within and think about everything or think about nothing at the same time. I
Yep.
have the pleasure of building a really special relationship with Bob Roth, who's the CEO of the David Lynch Foundation, and in growing closer and hearing him talk about both the medical benefits and the personal benefits of this practice, I've been all in. And I have the pleasure of getting further involved in that organization and helping foster things like Meditate LA and some new practices to share my experience and my personal growth through meditation, but now be able to pay it forward and be able to help people in underserviced communities that don't have access to meditation, which is really such a valuable thing in my life. And I know, Michelle, you could speak at length about how meditation has helped you and changed your life.
Yes, definitely. Thank you. And so speaking of meditation, is that something I know for transcendental meditation, this huge research came out now with the American Heart Association. So I'm just wondering, anything with, as Spencer mentions, meditation, exercise, because we could talk about this for hours. And I know we're doing shorter podcasts now. Anything you want to say about that, Dr. Kahleova? And then we'll leave a couple things for our guests to take away.
Yeah, I'd like to touch on the exercise first. As you mentioned, Spencer, uh, you don't need to feel like it has to be like a super long workout. You can get a good sweat in 10 minutes. You can do a high intensity interval training in 10 minutes and you feel like you're going to die. And it'll give you like some endorphins. It'll give you, something that your body will be grateful for. So that's exercise. Even those so-called exercise snacks, they count. It doesn't have to be super long. Number two is sleep. Many people don't
Mm,
sleep enough, and it gives your body, it's essential for regeneration, for your memory consolidation, for your body just to be able to recuperate on a daily basis, for your brain to get rid of the waste on a daily basis. So it's important for your mental clarity, but also for your physical performance the next day. So be sure to get in whatever you need. You know your body. Most people need roughly 8 hours. Some people need a little bit more, and some people need a little bit less. You know your body. The thing is, you need to feel rested in the morning. And when it comes to relaxation, meditation, I'd like to just expand on this. It depends on your practices. So meditation is one of them, but it may be reading the Bible, it may be journaling, it may be gratitude practice. So there's quite a few practices that you can do that give your body like immense benefits from just uh, being present, being in the moment, and focusing on something that uh, kind of transcends yourself, you know. You may call it higher power, you may call it the universe, you may call it God, depending on your faith. But just focusing on something that's beyond yourself has been shown super beneficial.
Does petting my cat count when I pet my cat Pumpkin?
Absolutely. You know, some animals are used for therapy. They bring animals to hospitals. Uh, mainly dogs, but it's only because they're easier to transport to the hospital. But animals are amazing for stress relief.
Mm-hmm. I always have Pumpkin in the background when I'm coaching every day, so he holds the energy for us.
Yeah.
Well, thank you both. I just want to I was just going to say, if there's one thing for each of us to say to our audience that, a takeaway, if someone's newly listening, they're really struggling. I know I struggled for years, Spencer, same for you. One thing that people could do, what would you say? What would be the first thing that's helped you, or that you've heard from your patients, Dr. Kahleova, that is a takeaway for someone that they could do today? What would be an action step? Spencer, we'll start with you.
I'm going to have a hard time offering only one, so I'm going to stick with my dear friend Green Juice right here.
All
Ooh.
I think that,
right.
food is medicine, and being able to bring your alkalinity level to the right place, or putting fuel in your body and being able to think about food and develop that kind of relationship helps with everything else. Michelle, you and I have worked over years of my life in reframing a relationship with food and really having an opportunity to step into fueling my body with the right nutrients in order to achieve all of the goals that I'm building on a daily basis. And I think that that was a really hard thing for me as an overeater, as a, addictive style eater, but it is possible for each and every one of you. You just have to look at it over a period of time and developing what it is you want for your life and how you're going to step towards framing out the beautiful road, sometimes challenging, often challenging, but beautiful road to achieving optimal health and happiness and wellness. And the second thing that I will share is
Oh, you
finding,
only get one.
sorry,
Go
um,
ahead.
finding community and support has been
Mhm.
immensely helpful for me. When I made the life decision to get sober, Michelle actually joined me for my first AA meeting, and she flew out from Florida to Los Angeles, and I was a shaky little number, and had the courage and had the support to stand up and, share that I was an alcoholic and step into the light. And I really had a light moment at that point, and I haven't turned back. I have best friends that are in a program that I am choosing, and not every program is right for every person. There are
Mhm.
a litany of different groups that people can be supported by, whether it's for food or alcohol, other substances, codependency, relationships, Al-Anon. It is endless, but there is a wide world out there of support. And I'm living proof that when you grab on to the arms, the heart, the life of another human being and share your deepest, darkest secrets, they're not far away from what a lot of other people have experienced. And as much as I think I am my own special snowflake in every regard, there is beauty and there is harmony in finding the common ground in between other human beings. And I welcome anybody that's struggling with any regard to reach out to myself, to reach out to another person, get on the phone, call another human being. I think you'll be unbelievably surprised the level of support you can get and how much we as humans are seeking that connection and bonding and helping one another.
That's wonderful. You said it all for all three of us. That was
Yeah.
mine, support. And I'll just keep it quick. Thank you for that. Spencer, I think that like Dr. Kahleova, like you said, is, getting everything out of the house. That has been a life lesson for me. I know if it's in the house, and I know the minute I buy it at the store, there's trouble.
Yeah.
And so knowing that, because for me, I would plan it out the whole day. I'm going to go drive and I'm going to go get it. It became this obsession. And I never wanted to get on the phone. I wouldn't call anyone. I would just eat alone. So as great as that sounds, it was something I would never do. No one was going to stop me. I was going to have my thing. So I've learned to get it out of the house. And I think that is a really great practice for people. So, and I'm so proud of you, Spencer. I just want to say, because you were able to, for your first meeting, get up. This will be a chapter in my book, to get up in front of people and admit before you even got sober. I mean, you got sober, but just to admit to people.
Yeah.
And your first meeting was huge.
Mhm.
So it's amazing.
It takes so much courage.
Oh my
It's
God.
awesome.
So much courage.
Yeah.
It was a special moment, and having the support meant the world to me. And now I've been able to build support for myself in that community and support a lot of other people. And the value in being that conduit of possibility and that guiding light for certain people, and watching their lights turn on as they go through their own life's experience, has been one of the most valuable things in my entire life, probably the most valuable thing in my entire life. And it's truly a blessing.
That's
Awesome.
great. And I think when you're supporting others, for me, you live and walk the talk, because it's about your own integrity, that you're giving the space for other people. So if you know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's really taken things to another level for you.
Yeah.
And it's really great. All right,
Sugar's,
Dr. Colley.
sugar's still really hard, I have to say. When I'm thinking about what's in my pantry right now, I got a little package from somebody and they're chock full of sugar. So I still struggle with keeping it out of the house completely. And it is always a challenge staring you right in the face.
That's your 2026 New Year's goal. Get ready.
All right.
Now that I heard that.
But
Dr.
this is
Kahleova?
something that I'd like everybody who's listening to take as an encouragement. Just wrap your head around it. Michelle needs to keep everything out of her house, otherwise she struggles. The same for Spencer, the same for me. We don't have more willpower than you. Just, let it sink in. You just need to create a system that will set you up for success instead of failure. Right now, you're probably buying certain items out of habit, and you just have them at home and you just eat them and replace them. And it takes a little bit of planning. It takes a little bit of experimenting. What can I replace this item with? And you will find some. If you don't have those addictive foods in your house, it'll force you. You'll be like, what can I eat? I feel like eating something sweet. There's so many things, figs and dates, and dried mango is a big one. Yum. Yeah.
No. That's one of my red foods, they call it. In Overeaters Anonymous, you have the yellow, green, and red. Love those. And I will say one more thing too, as you're sharing this, adding in, this one thing I always coach about, adding in, not taking away. And so by Spencer, with your green juice, adding that in stabilizes blood sugar. It's a start. You could have a little fruit in it, and then you can move into something like celery juice or something. And that was life-changing for me as well. So well, wonderful. I just want to thank you both for being here. I know we can continue this conversation. It's a very big topic personally, and also for both of you. And thank you so much for being part of our conversation today. And I hope we've made a difference for all of you listening. And thank you, Dr. Kahleova and Spencer. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for listening to Fuel Your Joy. And we look forward to speaking with you again.